Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 167, which is called Their Decision. And this was a very good episode of Boruto. We had character development. They included some of the characters that we always like to see in these episodes, like Sakura, Sasuke towards the end, Naruto at the start, and so on. And it really felt like they committed in this episode to addressing a massive loss for Team 7 and Mugino from the last few episodes, and went for at least partial character arcs for basically everyone within the group. Boruto and Sarada being the focus of this episode, but they also gave Konohamaru sort of this redemption arc as well. He really wants to get down to investigating this and, redeem himself after the loss. Mugino, they're also setting up something that he will need to go with Konohamaru to protect him, because they almost set up that if he goes on his own, something bad is going to happen. So that was something for him as well, because he was a big part of the last mission also. And then, while this episode mainly just focused on Mitsuki and the fact that he suffered the most damage because he was the one who had to save Boruto and Sarada, it's still a setup for later when he does complete his recovery, just addressing, what his side of sort of the character development is going to be, in terms of potentially learning to use that sage mode without risking himself, or developing his other skills in some way to, boost his power as well. And yes, this was the sort of setup episode for the, a training arc for these characters, but Naruto, Boruto training arcs are good. And so, yes, it was pretty much just about Boruto and Sarada just accepting their loss, and what will they do with that. And in this case, it's no, we need to train. And I was so happy about that, because I was very worried when we got to that point in the episode where they find their rooms empty. I was just like, please do not have Boruto and Sarada, like, just after recovering, go off with Konohamaru and Mugino on this mission. This is not the right way to do this arc. So I was so pleased when it was just that they wanted to directly tell Konohamaru and Mugino that their plan is to get stronger. That they know that they're weak right now and that they wouldn't be good out there on a mission like this. But they will get out there and sort of earn their spot at a later date on those type of missions. And I think that was very good. That showed just character development overall. I think it would have been a little bit of a backtracking on especially Boruto's arc for him to, want to, not really do any training. So it was great to see him also committed to, we badly need to train. And I just thought the writing and character stuff in this was very good, in that you had Boruto and Sarada just sort of reflect on the fact that, yeah, we lost, like, my Sharingan was useless, my Rasengan was useless, what are we going to do? No, we're going to fight, we're going to be stronger going forward. So in that moment, it's set up that the training arc is going to be specific to those abilities. Sarada is going to have to train with Sasuke to develop her Sharingan, and Boruto, with no Sasuke to train with, Naruto's busy. Who's he going to learn Rasengan stuff from? And so I really liked the setup at the end of the episode for the only other one in the village with the Rasengan, Kakashi. And it was just like, yes, this is going to be so cool to see Kakashi train Boruto. Just to see what extra info he can sort of like add about how exactly Boruto can boost his Rasengan, because they seem to be going for like the Rasengan that Boruto uses in the opening, the sort of rainbow Rasengan thing. I'm wondering what that actually is, because Boruto obviously right now has the sort of vanishing Rasengan as well as now a normal one. So this isn't just going for like a big Rasengan, but some sort of extra power in it, I guess. So whatever Kakashi can offer him is going to be, I think, very, very cool to see. Like, I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of, I guess, nature release Rasengan, which, if I remember correctly, was something that, like, he said, like, oh, other characters can't really do that, but Boruto has managed to like add in some form of nature release into it. So I don't really know. We'll see how they explain what the rainbow Rasengan actually is. Um, but even the rest of the episode, like I thought it was very well done at the start of the episode. The seriousness that they treated needing to get everyone back to the village because they're so badly injured. Um, just seeing like Sakura waiting at the kind of entrance to the village with stretchers, like knowing that they're coming, and just like quick, get them to the hospital. We need to work on them straight away, and then them like out of nowhere revealing that like we had to take Mitsuki to Orochimaru. Mitsuki is so badly injured that he has to go to Orochimaru's like research lab to be fixed basically. And with I like that they continued to add into this idea that even though Orochimaru sort of just treats Mitsuki like a research project, he does care. You can tell he absolutely cares, and the fact that Log can see that as well, I thought was just really good character development. In that, I'm very excited to see what they do when Mitsuki recovers enough to where he can also, find some resolve to also train. What will that be in? And those Orochimaru Mitsuki conversations are always, fascinating. So what will they talk about? Because, Sakura with Sarada in this episode is kind of like, okay, she's the medic, make sure you do your full recovery, don't get up now. But ultimately, we saw with the scene with Shizune that she's completely aware of, she will have to like think and consider, what this loss means going forward. Similarly, I liked Naruto's understanding of what Boruto's going through as well. I just thought that little moment with Naruto when he rushed in to find out what happened was very good, because just in a very short period of time, they had the character do quite a lot. Show his concern for Boruto, calm down both Hinata and Himawari because they were very worried about what was happening to Boruto, and just, make it clear that who Boruto is. He's going to recover quickly and he'll be up in no time at all, and just calms everyone down. But then to Konohamaru, he's like, I know what you must be feeling, but don't. You did everything you could. You got them back here. They're going to be okay. You'll have your chance to sort of prove yourself going forward. And it's just being the leader of the village and just helping sort of everyone in the room. I thought that was really well written Naruto, in just, again, a very small little moment there, to use the character. But yeah, we also got a Deepa and Victor scene where they talked sort of vaguely about Kara and the idea that they're not particularly high up in the organization. They're not really favored. They're more on the outskirts, but they're doing something quite important here. And they talk about someone within the organization who, like, things would have gone more smoothly if they had just cooperated. I don't really know what they're talking about there, in that, like, I don't think it's Kawaki, because, like, did they mention it was, like, 5 years ago or something like that? So I'm not really sure what that was about, but it did set up what's next for them, and that Victor is working on whatever he's going to do with the cell, the Hashirama cell, but then Deepa has to go and get an item. So I guess that item will probably tell us what the plan for the cell actually is, like, what are they trying to accomplish with it. That'll be key, because ultimately I think where this has to be going is that we're building up to, okay, Konohamaru and Mugino are going to do their investigation, and as Boruto and Sarada and I suppose Mitsuki finish their training, they will join the mission, I guess, and we'll get our secondary showdown with Victor and Deepa, which I'm guessing will have to result in the defeat of Deepa, but Victor will still be around for a little bit. But who knows exactly what way they're going to do it. But I think immediately the setup of this training arc makes it like, okay, cool, I actually want to see this. I'm not like, just get through these episodes to get us to the next bit of manga. this is actually quite important, because like we want to know, like, oh yeah, like it's highly likely that of course Sarada is going to get her second Tomoe on her Sharingan. That seems to be the training they're going for there. And just seeing Sasuke directly train his daughter is going to be really cool to see. And then similarly, Kakashi is always like a treat to see in these episodes. So him doing direct training with Boruto, I'm wondering, will he mention anything about like, oh, this is similar to like when I trained Naruto or whatever, because the previous Kakashi and Boruto scenes we've had in the show have been pretty good. So this should be another, you know, really strong, you know, section of the episode. But I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about here. I suppose, going back to Mugino for a second, I did find it interesting that the setup for his little character arc was like a fortune teller basically telling him that like the shadow of death is over someone close to you. You will be the one to stop that from happening. So, I don't know. I'm wondering like what more they're going to do with that, because it seems just a little bit random right now that like Mugino and fortunes, like what's going on here. But this seemed to be the thing that drove him to also want to participate on this mission. So it means like those two aren't necessarily getting training, but I do wonder what's going to happen here. Is it just going to be like, you know, research here into what's going on, or will there be some sort of a fight? There's a lot of moving parts at this point. I do wonder how they're going to bring them all together. But, you know, it's a success of this episode that it's made everything pretty interesting. That Sarada is going to make some big progress on the Sharingan. Boruto's going to get a whole new fancy Rasengan. And will that be enough? I guess for now, to have something that can handle someone of that level, but there's still lots of room to grow. I think that's solid enough development, especially for an arc that isn't from the manga, but you know, we'll see what they do. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode. Definitely, I think one of the best Boruto episodes in quite a while. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.